I've snorkeled plenty of times, but I've never had to learn how to clear my goggles of water. And he was talking about this in the book and how it will literally save your life one day if you ever have to do it. I'm like, oh, I've never done that. I would have, like, I don't know, what do you mean you put your hand on your forehead? That doesn't make any sense. And I think he could see that I was kind of struggling with the concept, and he was like, okay, in the pool. Like, okay. But now I can completely lose my goggles. I know this because he took them off of my head completely and then handed them back to me. And I had to put them back on and clear it. But I will never forget how to do that.
That's awesome. I'm Jesse. I love surfing, filming videos, and being outdoors.
I'm Jenny. I'm an outdoor adventure mama and a little bit obsessed with the beach.
After I finished the military, I went surfing around the world and I got hooked on the excitement of adventure travel.
Traveling means more to us than just taking a vacation. It's when we feel the most alive and when we have the most fun, because we're close to nature and doing the things we love.
We started in Florida, crossed the border in Mexicali, and are now heading down to the very bottom of Baja Mexico.
We're checking out the beaches, the culture, and learning what makes Baja so special.
Last time we swam with whale sharks and continued living the high life in our parents' luxury VRBO rental. Our parents flew in from the States to spend the week with us, and right after we took them back to the airport, we suffered a huge loss with our dog Nutmeg, who passed away from cancer. She left a huge hole because she's been our travel companion since the beginning of this RV trip 2 years ago.
In this episode, we settle in Cabo, Pulmo, Baja's most beautiful place to scuba dive and where I get my scuba certification.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Jenny.
And you're watching Outside is Calling. With this challenging terrain in Baja, it would have been real nice to have a set of SnapPads. We do have some now, and they make a huge difference for places like right here where we're on very uneven terrain. It gives us a larger footprint, and in our case, the prime SnapPads are over 3 times larger than the original jack size.
Consider these your RV's flip-flops for Mexico, or basically anywhere you wouldn't want to walk barefoot, that's where you need these SnapPads. But they're also eco-friendly. They're made out of recycled tires, which is awesome, but that way you can just set it and forget it.
So welcome to Cabo Pulmo. How do you pronounce it? Cabo Pulmo, right? P-U-L-M-O. It's a weird spelling.
Pulmo.
And this is on the East Cape of Baja. To give you a little bit more of a background where this is at, so we are southeast of La Paz. There's a popular kite surfing area called La Ventana. We're just south of that, and there's a popular surfing area known as Shipwrecks, and we're just northeast of that. Let's pause for Tucker. Hey, Tucker Bo! When we arrived in Cabo Pulmo, we thought we'd just find some little spots on the beach. This is actually an official beach RV camping area.
Yeah, it's all rocks. There's no sand to worry about, so.
And no hookups. This is off-grid camping. Yeah. You can see the little spots where people can park their.
Yeah, that was actually really cool. There's some shrubs, some sort of beach plant that just kind of separates each parking spot. So you pull up, you are facing the beach, but it seems completely secluded. There's trash cans, which was nice to keep it clean. There were even little outhouses.
There were
on some spots too, because there's a lot of van lifers there. So I'm sure that would help. I know a lot of them don't have a toilet.
Yeah, so it'd be very beneficial if you're traveling and don't have one. We had the luxury of having a toilet, and we definitely were not that courageous or explorative to go try out those. But they did have some basic facilities, and it's a primo spot right on the beach.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Adam. What's up, man?
Jesse.
So as we mentioned in the last video, our first couple days in Cabo Pulmo, we were pretty heartbroken. We didn't do a whole lot, it was actually kind of a welcome distraction when Tucker would cry and want some coddling or some care. We did walk the beach. We did plenty of, beach combing, and there are some beautiful vistas. I always say it wrong. There's some beautiful scenery though, and it was such a nice place to just, kind of take a break for a little bit. So after a couple days of feeling sorry for ourselves, I wandered into the town nearby. So the RV parking area, it's maybe a quarter, half mile away from like the proper town of Cabo Pulmo, which is kind of nice. It's actually out kind of on the outer area, so it's very quiet, and just a little bit of traffic drives by every so often. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. And I had to walk into town in order to get some Wi-Fi because I'm still, while we're traveling, I'm still a full-time student doing online training. So I had to go find Wi-Fi. I'm getting down to the minute on some deadlines of some project. I had some work done, but I needed to get online and turn it in. So to make a long story short, I headed into town, and what's the dive shops, resort's name?
Cabo Pulmo
What?
Resort.
Yeah?
No, the resort at Cabo Pulmo.
So that's where I went to, and they had actually pretty good Wi-Fi, and they had great food too. So while I was there doing schoolwork, I went ahead and ordered some food, and just one thing led to the next, and I inquired, said, hey, we actually came here to get a dive cert. We probably won't have enough time because we're only here for a few more days, but just what do you have is what I said, just in case,
Buenas tardes. How are you today?
Todo bien. Are you Marco?
Yes, my name is Marco.
Hey Marco, I'm Jesse. We talked on
and
the phone.
it was pretty cool. I will say, I'll give them, they were very adaptive to whatever our needs were, and that was kind of nice. A lot of dive shops and places I've been to in the past, they have a very strict schedule of when they're doing their training, when they're doing courses, and you have to follow that schedule. In this case, they were very flexible with us, and they actually had one student coming in the next day, or was it that day? It was pretty last minute.
It was that day. There was another guy wanting to get his dive cert. His name was Jared, actually. He and his wife. It's funny, they were also staying in an RV with their parents farther south of us in Cabo Pulmo, but they were going to be flying out in a few days, and he was really worried about pressures when you're diving. You're not supposed to fly for a certain number of... Anyway, so he was kind of like on a time crunch as well. Stars aligned, we were able to do everything, to do our dive certifications together. But as Jesse said, they were super accommodating.
Perfecto. We have an instructor here, which is
Hola.
Alfredo.
Oh.
Okay, so he'll be your instructor for jetty.
Mucho gusto.
And we will get you all set up with the gear and everything else if you need to rent or you have your own.
Cool.
He was like a full day ahead of me, and so my dive instructor Alfredo, we just kind of like booked it that first day. We just kind of did things as quickly as we could. That way I could be on the same page as Jared, and we could do our dives together.
I'd forgotten how like things kind of happen. It was kind of good too because we had been moping around, feeling sorry for ourselves, and all of a sudden we found ourselves like frantically trying, like, okay, hey, dive lessons, here we go, and it was like full speed ahead.
Well, and as Jesse mentioned, in the States, you go to the dive shop and they say, okay, in 2 weeks we can start this and that. Well, with us, it was, hey, you want to get your dive cert? Let's start today. And I was just kind of a little freaked out because, as Jesse said, we were heartbroken. We'd been moping, and now all of a sudden I have to like get my butt in gear and be an active member of society and speak to people and not cry, kind of a thing. So it was just kind of a good kick in the butt.
And also learn life-saving, not life-saving, but
Yeah,
life-sustaining information that could keep you alive underwater.
That's true too. I was really excited to have the chance to be certified in Cabo Pulmo. I do not know the year, but way back when, Jacques Cousteau actually called Cabo Pulmo the world's aquarium because it was just so beautiful, and the sheer number of marine life that you can see there, it's just phenomenal. And for a long time, a lot of the species were in rapid decline until in 1995, they actually banned all fishing in the area. And since then, it's actually become the most extraordinary recovery ever recorded in marine science. In just 15 years, there are species of marine life that have never been there before and are not found anywhere else in the immediate area. So it's a pretty special place to dive, for sure.
What's really unique about this area, this is where the Sea of Cortez and the Pacific Ocean are kind of coming together. And so you have these two different realms, this biosphere, if you will, and it's a really, really amazing combination for marine life.
Yep.
So I was watching Tucker while Jenny was in her dive training, but so So tell me, what was like the first things that you had to do for your dive
I
cert?
probably learned more, honestly, than I would have in the States. It was just the dive instructor and I in the classroom, and he was able to go over things more in depth or less in depth if I needed it, and he was able to ask questions. I was able to ask questions as he went. He's, you know, he could spend as much time on a subject as I needed versus not. And the pool was just outside the classroom, so it was actually kind of funny. Some people might think it's annoying, but we would go over a topic, and then he'd be like, you know what, I want to show you, or I want to see you do it. And so we'd get our gear on and hop in the pool, and you know, I'd practice my buoyancy, and then we'd get out and go back to the book, and
Really?
that happened a couple times, and I thought it was really cool.
That's
because
cool.
while I'm learning about it, okay, let's act it out. Let's do it in real life. So I thought it was. I don't have any other experience to base it on, obviously, but.
No, that sounds really cool.
I've also definitely been the butt of a few jokes when people saying like, "Oh, you got certified in Mexico," you know. I'm sure implying that I don't even know. It was a great experience, and I am a PADI certified diver.
My dive certs were many years ago, but I was in a class back when I was in high school, and I remember this very boring. It was night classes. It was like 1 or 2 nights a week, 4 hours of sitting there getting a lecture. And what's even worse is like they're 2 nights a week spaced out over about 6 or so weeks. And so like, you know, a month and a half later, then you get to hop in the water and try to remember what it was that you were doing 5 weeks ago.
I've snorkeled plenty of times, but I've never had to learn how to clear my goggles of water. And he was talking about this in the book and how it will literally save your life one day if you ever have to do it. I'm like, oh, I've never done that. I would have like, I don't know, what do you mean you put your hand on your forehead? That doesn't make any sense. And I think he could see that I was kind of struggling with the concept, and he was like, okay, in the pool. Like, okay. But now I can completely lose my goggles. I know this because he took them off of my head completely and then handed them back to me, and I had to put them back on and clear it. But I will never forget how to do that.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Also, for those of you watching, if you aren't scuba divers or don't know much about the diving, you have what's called a BC, a buoyancy compensator, which is like this jacket that you can fill up full of air or deflate with the air. And our bodies are naturally buoyant, so you put a bunch of weights on, a bunch of lead weights, and essentially you're trying to balance, you know, to be neutral in the water where you don't float and you don't sink. And it's definitely a lot of work to try and get to that point. To get the hang of it after a while.
Spent a lot of time in the pool.
Yeah, side note, I'm not sure if Alfredo is still there. Hopefully he is, but if any of our viewers decide to get dive certifications, Alfredo, he was a top-notch instructor. Pretty cool dude. I saw, so I was kind of hanging out with Tucker outside the pool a few times. Our RV's like 5 minutes from the dive shop. So Tucker and I, we'd wander over and watch them do their lessons. And I saw that in the pool they had a little dive flag and like a rope. What was that all about?
I had to practice having the line attached to me. And also, if you're making like a quick ascent and there's a boat coming to find you, you have to like inflate your sausage. So you do that with your mouthpiece. I had to learn how to do that so that it shoots up in the water. Oh my gosh. Oh, has nothing to do with the line, but I also had to practice taking off my tank and my BC.
I never did
like
that.
swimming around it and then putting it back on.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I never did that part of it. And that's pretty cool to be able to get your BC off. And
well, and it was pretty scary, but I'm really glad he made me do it in the pool, because then he also made us do it in the water, where we took off our gear and then he took my mask, and I had to swim. I don't know why, but I had to swim around my gear, and then he handed me my mask back and I put that on, and then I either if I had to
out in deep water.
Yeah, he also had to just do it out there. We were like maybe 15 feet.
Deep enough. That's pretty cool.
Guess I might be a better diver than you. I'm just kidding.
So the way this works, when you want to get a scuba certification, you do your training, you do a pool dive, and then it's time, like they call it your open water dives. You're out in the open water, and there's, you know, it's not a controlled environment. You're out there in the elements, and you got to perform.
Ooh, I'm about to go do my first open water dives. 2 tanks, so 2 different dives.
Cool.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous. How about Jared? Are you nervous? Yeah, a little bit.
Soap water diving up. Here we go.
Dude.
You can't be nervous.
Every day.
Dude, what? This is my first time too.
This is my fourth.
For more info about our SnapPads and a free travel ebook from Rough Guides, click this link here. Our entire trip through Baja is in this playlist. And up next, see my first dive in Mexico here. Thanks for watching.